Okay, this is Jump Math Book 6, or sorry, Grade 6, Book 2, and we're on page 60, Designs and Transformations. So again, this word transformations means all of the three you've been learning about, including translations, which are slides, rotations, which are turns, and reflections, which are flips. So you get to play with that and with patterns to make some different designs. So looking at one, it says shade the smallest part that is transformed to create the pattern. So I would say for this one, the smallest part would be, I'm going to try the highlighter, see what happens here. Whoops. Well, the highlighter doesn't like me. I'll just take the pen then. So I would say this piece right here would be what you would shade, because that's the piece that's repeated throughout. And it looks like you slide it down or slide it across, and you can repeat it throughout. Okay? Um, for C and D, see if you can figure out the base pattern that's used. Let's move on to the next question. For question 2, I'm just going to do E as the example. It says rotate the polygon around point P as given. So 90 degrees counterclockwise. That would be this direction. So this line right here is going to drop to right here. And then I can just draw in the rest of the triangle. This line is following that line, and it's 3 long. So I would draw 3 long this way. And then this line here just connects back to the point of rotation, point P, so I just draw that back in there. Now I've moved it 90 degrees counterclockwise. See if you can do 4 of those, so choose 4 letters to do. For question 3, I'm going to do A. It says create a design by rotating the polygon repeatedly 90 degrees clockwise. So if I move this clockwise once, it's going to look like this. If I had a ruler, that would be nicer. I wish I had a digital ruler. Anyway, so there's my first 90 degrees clockwise. If I move it again 90 degrees clockwise, it's going to look like this, right? And one more time, 90 degrees clockwise. I move that line down. And if I moved it again, I would land back on top of my original triangle. So that's what it looks like when you rotate it repeatedly around the point. So try that out for B and C, or for B in the bonus. For question 4, it's just practicing some reflections again, so why don't you try A and C. And for question 5, create a design by reflecting the polygon repeatedly in the mirror lines. So I'll do A for you and see if you can try B and C. Bonus might be a bit difficult. Let's see if you can do that as well if you want. Have a little bit of fun with this. So this one would reflect like this, and on this side would reflect like that. So you notice doing repeated reflections looks a little bit different than repeated rotations, right? The orientation of the shape is changing a bit through the reflected lines. All right, let's move on. So I'm going to do B and C for this one. You can try and do D. So for this one, B, what's happening? I would choose a point and figure out what's happening. You can see this one is not rotating at all, but I can see how the point is moving, and that's how the shape is moving. So 2 right, 1 up, then 2 right, 1 down is how you could say the shape is transforming. And it's repeating that pattern. For C, looks to me like there's a 180-degree rotation happening there from that point. And then I would say um, a 90-degree rotation happening there. So I would say 180-degree clockwise on that point. Oh, and I suppose you could put the point here instead of up at the top if you wanted to. So I'm just going to erase that one. And if I put the point there, then I would say it's another 180-degree clockwise for each each of those points. Anyway, see if you can figure out what's happening for each of those. And for D, you might have to figure out the point of rotation. See if that's tricky or not for you. So for the rest of this, for 7, it's can you continue the pattern following those combinations? So see if you can do that across the page. Again, you can choose a couple of those to do. Question 8, just asking you questions about what you did in number 7. For number 9, use the polygon in the grid to create a pattern by repeatedly applying the combination of transformations. So I'm going to do A for you, and then see which ones you can do. So this says reflect in the top side, then translate 3 units right and 1 unit down. So this is what I'm going to do. So if I reflect this, it would be pointing with the arrow down. It would look like this. And I guess they're shading every other shape, so I would shade this one in. And then I'm going to do that again, reflect up here, 3 right, 1 down. So my next shape would be like this. And you can see how it's going to keep repeating itself. So the one with the part that's pointing up like that, I would be shading. And the one with the part pointing down, I would not. Okay. So you get to continue those again. I don't have a digital ruler to be able to make this look better, but take your time, make it look good, and make sure you're connecting those dots correctly. Okay? All right, let's move on. So just give you the challenge, see if you can do 10 and 12, and have a little bit of fun with transformations of shapes. All right, I hope that's helped for these patterns and transformations.